Greetings to all. 1938 was a great year. I know, because I was there. It was the year my class graduated. We were the first class to use the new gym, a gym that was built by the WPA. The WPA was one of many programs put in place by FDR to help us get through the Depression. Many people worked on the gym, some as far away as Chicago. It really eased the depression of hard times. That gym was one of many buildings used by our class to promote activities for our class trip fund. We generated enough money to pay for all of us to go on a 2,200-mile trip out east to Niagara Falls, Canada, New York, Washington, and Virginia. When we got home, we each got $3.80 that was left over. Yes, that was a great year. Another thing I remember was the Bloomingdale bank being robbed. It turned out good. The authorities claimed it was a professional job as there were no clues. It turned out the Allegan police apprehended two young farm boys who had been spending a lot of money. When someone asked if they had robbed the Bloomingdale bank as a joke, they meekly admitted to doing so the money was returned. It was a good year. Now we get to the town of Bloomingdale, a town just rolling in oil. What to do with all that oil? After much discussion, it was decided to build two pipelines, a seamless 4-inch and a threaded 4-inch, to carry the oil from the Bloomingdale area to Grand Junction and the Pere Marquette Railroad. As the Michigan Central Railroad ran through Bloomingdale, along what is now the Calhaven Trail, the competition between the two railroads caused some problems. It went well until we had to tunnel under the Michigan Central Railroad. It was a Saturday afternoon. We were told to go home and rest and get plenty to eat as we would be working all night. This we did, and when we got back, they put us to work digging. All of a sudden, two Michigan Central Railroad detectives came with pistols drawn and shouted a warning. The next guy that digs a shovelful of dirt will be shot. We were stunned as we didn't expect that. Our foreman grabbed a shovel and hollered, "Get to digging. You're wasting time." The detectives very meekly put their guns away. As it was Saturday night, no injunction was able to be obtained, and the next day was Sunday, so no injunction was obtained. By Monday, we had finished the tunnel and sealed both ends with a sign that said, "Do not touch, high explosives." A man by the name of Dale Smith and I were selected to repair all the fences that had been damaged by the laying of the pipelines. Dale Smith was one of the nicest men I had ever met. He was totally deaf, and he carried a writing pad, and when he expected an answer to one of his questions, he would hand you his pad. With this system, we got along great. It was just walking distance to work, so we would walk home for our meals. But one day, he came back looking very disturbed, so I asked him what was the matter. He told me that when he got home for dinner, his wife was going to do the chicken chores, so he offered to help feed and water the chickens. He got done, so he left the coop before she did. The mail carrier, Charles Miller, was at the mailbox, so after a lengthy discussion he gathered up his mail, went into the house where he sat down, propped up his feet, and began to read the mail. He felt the house tremble, and in that instant he knew what he had done. He had locked his wife inside the chicken coop. By the way she was jumping up and down, he knew she was very mad. He then turned to me and said, "John, that was the one time I thank God that I couldn't hear." The price of oil was 96 cents a barrel. We had 4 wells drilled on our farm. 2 went dry, but the other 2 were very good, and one is still pumping today. As time progressed, there was much wheeling and dealing. My parents had very little education and decided to get a lawyer to handle the legal papers concerning the oil. They hired a local lawyer from Pawpaw and told him what they wanted. He said he would take care of it. Well, he did, but then the oil royalties all went to him. When my parents realized what he had done, they got another lawyer. He took it to the court, and the judge decided the first lawyer had committed fraud and had him disbarred and made him pay for all he had taken from my parents. Justice had prevailed. After the pipeline had been completed, my brother and I one day were hitching up our horses to go to the field to work when we heard a tremendous explosion, like the sound of a jet plane going off. The pipeline had burst. Oil was spraying out all over, and the sky was just black. It took us a few minutes to realize what had happened. We then hurried to Bloomingdale to notify the pumper as to what had happened and get him to shut down the pump. When we got back, we did all we could to keep the oil from getting into the creek and eventually to Lake Michigan, which would have caused severe oil pollution. We got the oil contained and it was set afire to clean up the oil. The smoke and fire could be seen for miles. People from Allegan and further east came by to see what was burning. Except for the burning pasture land, there was no estate damage. It is a great honor to be here for this historical event, and our thanks go out to all who made it possible. Many fond memories will come of this day. Our family has many thankful memories of the past. We especially want to thank the Hartman family for all the consideration they have shown, and thank you again for all who have contributed to today's ceremony. Last but not least, I wish to thank my class of 1938 for being the greatest. Blessings to you all. John H. Stassek.